Revenge films.
My name is Michelle. I'm 27 years old and I work as an administrator for a food products company. I recently got married to my boyfriend Henry, who I dated for 6 months. However, this marriage was a huge mistake. I rushed into it feeling the pressure because of my age, but at this point it was too late for regret since it was done. The reason was Henry's mom, my mother-in-law. When Henry was younger, his parents got divorced, and apparently he grew up with his mother. But when we decided to get married, he requested that he wanted to live with his mother. To be honest, I had a hard time getting on board with it. But if I were to let this opportunity pass, I might not be able to find another partner, and by then I'll be past 30 years old. Because of that, when Thomas said,
"If anything happens, I promise to protect you,"
I believed his words. And I unfortunately agreed to living at Henry's family's home. However, in the beginning, my mother-in-law was pretty kind. She didn't harass me at all, and I actually thought that maybe we might be able to get along well. But the incident occurred on my first payday since we started living with her.
Michelle, today's your payday, isn't it? Will you please take out your seal and your bank book?
What do you mean?
In our family, we've decided that I will be handling all of the family finances, so every month you need to be handing over your full salary.
Of course I refused, but in that instant, my mother-in-law started yelling at me.
How dare you! You are a daughter-in-law. What kind of nerve do you have to be talking back to me? I made the rules in this household.
She flipped a switch so quickly that I was so terrified, and I immediately ran into my room and somehow escaped the situation. But starting the next day, my mother-in-law began harassing me extensively. Until then, she hadn't said anything about my cooking, but then she started saying that the flavors were bad. But that I wasn't folding the laundry properly, and I could only believe that she was clearly resenting me for not handing over my full salary. In times like that, words that would always come out of her mouth were,
"Even though you're just a freeloader that doesn't pay any money, you don't listen to the master of the house. What an unbelievable woman. For me, Henry begged me, and that's the only reason why I had no choice but to live with you."
But it's not like I had asked to live at the house at all. I do so much around the house that, if anything, she should be grateful, and I couldn't handle being spoken to like this. I had had enough, so I tried to talk to Henry about it, but...
Even if you talk to me about that, she's letting us stay in this house. So if you can't abide by the rules that my mom decided, then it's going to cause us both trouble.
Letting us stay here? Since when was that the story? Since when were we indebted to her? I started to be terrified of the fact that I was stuck in this house, and I started thinking that maybe I should go back to live with my parents when the real terrifying incidents occurred. What is this? When I got home from work, I couldn't believe my eyes. The lock to the door was broken, and the room was completely trashed. I panicked, and when I looked around, as expected, my seal and my bank book were missing. It's a robbery! As soon as I thought that, I heard my mother-in-law's voice from behind me.
"Oh, you're home."
"Oh, ma'am, a robbery! Wait, what?" When I looked over at her, in her hands, my mother-in-law was gripping my seal and my savings bank book.
"You really went through a lot of trouble to hide it. It took me a long time to find it.
That's my bank book."
This is all because you wouldn't hand it over. I told you, for everyone that lives in this house, I'm going to manage all of the finances."
She had crossed the line. I couldn't tolerate this behavior from her anymore, and I felt something snap inside me. "What are you doing? Give it back!"
"Hey, stop!"
I snatched my seal and my bank book out of my mother-in-law's hands, and I rushed back to my parents' house. When I got there, I was in tears, and when I explained the situation to them, "My goodness, what a crazy person! This must have been so scary."
She's insane! You need to hurry up and get a divorce immediately!
That's what they said, and with their support, I immediately signed the divorce papers and sent it to them straight away. No matter how many times I spoke to him, he refused to help me, and he didn't keep the promise he made when we got married either. I had no feelings left for the guy like that. I got multiple texts and phone calls from Henry, but of course ignored them all. But then Henry did the unexpected.
I truly am sorry. I love you. Please come back to me. I'll do anything.
Absolutely not. Get out.
Please don't say that.
Look at Henry. This is how far he's going. Why don't you let this go? I'm not mad anymore either.
To my disbelief this time, Henry and his mother-in-law showed up at my parents' house. What do you mean you're not mad anymore? Are you kidding me? My mother-in-law refused to admit to any wrongdoing. However, Henry was sobbing. and it didn't seem like he was going to leave until I agreed to get back with him. My mom saw that I was being troubled, and she intervened for me. Excuse me, in that case, why don't Henry and his mother live with us here for some time?
What? Here?
Because Henry, you want to live together with Michelle, right? Henry wouldn't want to leave your mother by herself. And now that Michelle has come home for the first time in a while, we want to live with her too, see? At that point, we can all let it go and we can live happily together. What on earth is she suggesting? Of course, immediately tried saying no, but my mother looked sharply at me as if to say, don't worry, I got this.
Really? Well then, yes, please. Mom, you would be okay with that, right? Look, they're all saying that they would let it go in that case.
My mother-in-law was flustered, but in the end, she said,
Sure, well, if that's what you guys want.
and she agreed.
Is that so? Well then, the both of you. We look forward to living with you. Yes, thank you very much.
Isn't this great? Well then now that that's settled, can you hand over your seal and your bank book?
What?
Just like your house, at our place I am managing all of the family finances here.
What? What? Well, don't tell me that even when you're a freeloader here, you won't say that you don't want to. If you're going to talk back to me, then let me teach you a lesson. I need to make sure I do that to a son-in-law that can't even listen.
Hey, wait, but that's...
All right, Henry. Well then, you need to start by cleaning the bathrooms first. What? Clean the bathrooms?
You're a freeloader, so isn't it obvious? By the way, our rules are our rules, so if things aren't done in accordance to our rules, we're going to have you redo it, no matter how many hours and how many days it takes.
Oh, and as for you, can you go clean the pond out in the yard? You might get a little bit cold, but you're a freeloader, so it's fine, right? Well then, let's get started right away.
What? Hey, what is this?
My father took my mother-in-law by the hand and walked her straight to the yard. Perhaps my father and my mother both had a lot of anger built up because they didn't show any mercy by going after Henry and his mother.
Please, give me a break.
What are you doing? Look here. It's still not clean, is it?
It's so cold.
Come on, put your arms all the way into the bat.
I can't do this anymore.
By the time the two of them were exhausted and fell over, it was already 2 o'clock in the middle of the night.
Oh, it's already this late. Well then, why don't we get to bed?
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, you're going to wake up by 4 a.m. and make breakfast for everybody. And then, until we get up, you're going to take out the trash and clean up the front gate.
I can't do this anymore. This is too much.
Mom, think about the time right now.
Shut up. First of all, if you hadn't married this stupid woman, none of this would have happened. Stop that.
Even though it was the middle of the night, Henry's mom started chasing him around the house and caused a huge commotion. We didn't know what to do anymore, so we called the police straight away and had them arrested. A few days later, I got a message from Henry that he turned in the divorce papers. Perhaps the payback from my parents really worked. It goes without saying that when we got the notice, our entire family celebrated together. By the way, apparently the two of them are still living together, but getting into huge fights every day. At this rate, I'm sure Henry will never get remarried again. So I hope the two of them live happily ever after together.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.